Hi dear students. So we know many questions asked from the radius of orbit or energy of the electron or binding energy, ionization energy, excitation energy or total energy, velocity of the electron. So those all derivations we will discuss in just 10 minutes in the detailed manner and everyone can understand. Let's start. Calculate the radius of orbit. See, the nuclear charge is Ze, electron charge is E, the distance between them is R, and here there will be two forces act over the electron. One is attractive force between nucleus to electron because of opposite charges, which is also nothing but electrostatic force of attraction or centripetal force. There is another force act over the electron, that is centrifugal force, the force which acts to fly the electron from nuclear charge, which means opposite to centripetal force. Fugal means try to come out. Fugal means the electron try to go away from the atom. That is nothing but centrifugal force. Over electron, centripetal force equals to centrifugal force. That's why the electrons stay in the orbit. Anyhow, let's start our derivations. Force of attraction. According to Coulomb's law, K into Q1 Q2 by R square. So Q1 is charge of nucleus, charge of electron. So we are writing K into Z square by R square. And force of centripetal force formula mv square by R. For stability, both attractions and centri, this we are equating both of them. Kz square by R square equals to mv square by R. So from that v square we can write it kz square by mr. According to second postulate, mvr equals to nh by 2 pi. Here nh by 2 pi. So here h dash equals to h by 2 pi. That's why v square equals to n square h dash square by r square. So if you substitute h by 2 pi, directly we'll get this v square equals to n square h square by 4 pi square m square r square. From this 1 and 2 equations, just this is the equation 1 and this is equation 2. From those you can write r value. R means just this gets cancelled, this also gets cancelled, and that's how we get the radius of nth orbit, because n is there in the formula. If you here everything is constant except n value and z value, but for hydrogen z is 1, so that the radius of nth orbit is 0.529 into n square by z angstroms. Z is 1, you can also write 1 in the place of z. Generally this value you can write either 0.529 angstroms or 0.53 angstroms. Or if you want to write that in picometers, 52.9 picometers. So generally the value written either R0 or A0. Coming to the second, calculation of velocity. mvr equals to nh, v equals to nh by mr, and r equals to the above equation n square h square by mk z square, and velocity of nth electron equals to nh by m, because r we are here nh by mr, right? That r we are writing with this equation. The place of r we substituted above equation. So finally what you will get is kz square by nh, because m gets cancelled, n also gets cancelled, h gets cancelled, resultant is kz square by nh. So velocity of nth electron is kz square by nh. So here also except z and n, remaining all are constant, so that we are taking the values and write 2.18 into 10 power 6. That is the velocity of electron. Coming to next, energy of the electron. So kinetic energy formula K equals to half mv square. mv square by r we already written earlier. So mv square by r is this only. Kz square by r square, we can equate to that. And mv square equals to, just rearranging the equations, and finally half into kz square by r, that is equals to kz square by 2r. So this is the kinetic energy of the electron. And finally that r also, that radius, if you substitute, you will get kinetic energy formula is this. Coming to potential energy we can directly take minus kz square, because integration need to do here. So potential energy equals to minus 2 Ke, and total energy is nothing but sum of kinetic and potential energy. So that we can get this one, because 1 minus half equals to minus half, right? That's what this. Here also, except z and n remaining all are constant. By substituting that, we can get 13.6 z square by n square, that is electron volt per atom. So ultimately this is important. Total energy equals to minus kinetic energy, potential equals to total energy equals to potential energy by 2. Hope it is clear until this. Coming to next, ionization energy. Energy is used to remove electron from level n to alpha, and ionization energy of nth shell equals to E infinity minus En. E infinity value is 0 because n value is infinite shell. You substitute n is infinity, you will get 0 everything. So ionization energy equals to plus of total energy. So 13.6 z square by n square. So minus of minus will get plus here. This value is minus 13.6. Now minus, if you multiply, it will be plus. That's the point what we wrote here. Coming to next, excitation energy. Excitation energy is nothing but higher energy state minus lower energy state. So this is higher energy state value and this is lower energy state value. And then the resultant is what? This, you multiply, you do some simplify. This is the equation n1 minus n2. 13.6 into z square by 1 by n1 minus 1 by n2 squares. That is electron volts. And binding energy is one more. Energy is used to remove electron from level n to infinity. So binding energy means nuclear charge only. So for this, infinity minus nth shell energies. So that is also same minus En. If you do this, you will get 13.6 into z square by n square electron volt per atom. So for hydrogen like atoms, z value is 1, so that z will not write. These are the overall, what is the radius, what is velocity, what is time period, what is frequency, and ionization energies and related things. Hope it is clear. Thank you.